Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we're going to be actually working on my 2006 Mazda 6i GT. We're going to be doing a really important video. These Mazdas are kind of notorious for their airbag issues. There's a recall on them that you should definitely check. And on top of that, they're kind of known for their airbag lights coming on all of a sudden. And that's pretty much what happened to my car. I was kind of going down the road and I got an airbag light. This is coming back from Atlanta, Georgia, and the code right now, it beeps 4 times, goes off, then beeps 9, which translates to code 49. Obviously no one knows what that means, so we're going to kind of go through the procedure of fixing it. So the good news is that it's really cheap to fix. It'll cost you about 20 bucks depending on your dealership, and the bad news is you're pretty much going to have to take the seat out. You don't have to take it out of the car completely, but you are going to have to unbolt the 4 bolts that hold the seat bracket down. And we'll kind of go through that whole thing, so let's get started. Let's try to start it again. Let's take a look. Now it's going to pause. So as you guys can see, it was code 49. Airbag lights can be on for a lot of different reasons, but I'm going to show you guys some of the most common things on why the airbag light comes on. Now you might not have code 49, but you might have another code, and I'm going to show you a simple fix right now. So if you kind of go under your seat, you're going to notice immediately that there's 2 tabs right here. These go to the airbag itself. Now, if you have a code other than 49, I highly recommend disconnecting the negative terminal at first and then unplugging these 2 connections and spraying some WD-40 in them and then plugging them back in and then reconnecting the negative terminal of the battery. Most of the time, these connectors, condensation happens, especially after weather changes. And moreover than that, I mean, sometimes when you're moving the seat, they kind of get hit, or if you put something in the back and it pushes them, they kind of get a little bit mixed up. And obviously, you can try on this side, which is the driver's side, and it's the exact same on the passenger side. So if this doesn't work, I highly recommend going back to your passenger side and doing the exact same thing for that as well. Most of the time, you can tell if it's the passenger airbag because the passenger airbag light over here will be off. And that's how you, even if someone's sitting in it, and that's how you kind of know that, okay, there's something really wrong with the passenger airbag. And again, you just kind of have to go in underneath the seat, and there's those 2 connections. This is the passenger side, of course. And there's a little bit more. You can take all of those out, all 5 of these. Of course, disconnect the negative terminal before that. Disconnect them, spray some WD-40 in the connection and the plug, and then put them back in and reconnect the battery. And hopefully that fixes it. If not, here's my recommendation for you. Now, although I must say I do have a lot of tools here in my garage, although I don't have an airbag code reader, I do have a regular OBD2 scanner, but I don't have an airbag one. So I highly recommend you go to the Mazda dealership and have them look at the code for you. And that's what they did. They looked at the code for me, and this is basically what happened. They told me that the airbag light flashing pull codes relates to the driver's seat track position sensor. The seat position track sensor is basically a small sensor that sees how far you are away from the airbag that's on the steering wheel. So God forbid if you get into an accident, the airbag has to know how far and how powerful to deploy, I guess. And if you're closer to the seat, it doesn't want to deploy as hard because then it'll just, crush your ribs or break some of your bones, and that'll be painful. So the farther you are, the more it needs to expand. The closer you are, it doesn't really need to expand that much. And that's basically what the sensor is it senses how close you are to the airbag and deploys at a certain rate, at a certain speed. Now the nice thing is, all these airbag related stuff, they're not that expensive because they're safety and they have to be cheap because it's for the safety of us drivers on the road. Now you can go to the Mazda dealership, and I'm going to show you the part number, which it's for. It's the same sensor on the passenger or driver's side, and I got this one for my '06 Mazda 6, but I was told it's the same for the Mazda 3, 2, CX-5, and the rest of the cars, because really airbag stuff doesn't really change that much apparently. So this is basically how the seat position sensor is. It cost $13, and it's depending on your dealership. I bought it from my dealership, it was around 13 bucks. You know, some other dealerships, they're more expensive. This is the new one. Here's the old one, actually, that I pulled out from my car. There's really no sense in trying to fix these. I mean, they're 13 bucks to 20 bucks, depending on your dealership and where you live. So I highly recommend just get a new one. I mean, it's mainly for your safety. And again, you know, you might be thinking, oh, which one do I change? Well, if you take it to the dealership, they'll tell you right here, driver's side seat position sensor. I obviously got my passenger airbag inflator. This was a recall that they did for me. So again, you want to check your recalls, and then, you know, they all have airbag issues. And it's not Mazda's fault. Mazda really doesn't do the airbags. But let's go replace that in the car. So as I told you guys, there are 4 bolts that kind of hold this seat in position. And they're kind of hidden. They hide them from you for some reason. The first one is kind of behind this, and you really kind of have to push this out of the way because there's a bolt hiding behind them. And there's one on each corner. There we go. As you can see, there's one. There's 2 on the other side. I'm going to move this to the front. As you can see here, there's a plastic tab right there. That's actually where the 3rd one is, but we'll kind of get to it from the back. There's number 3, and you basically have to take this cover off as well. They're all held in by clips, so they do need a little bit of force, and they'll come out. There we go. That's the 3rd one, and then the 4th one is right behind that. That came out easy. There's the 4th one. Take all 4 of those out, and you should be able to take your seat out. Now again, I recommend you push the seat up so you get access to this really quick, because what we're actually going to do is, before we touch any electrical things, we're going to pop the hood and disconnect the negative terminal from the battery. The reason for that is we're going to be taking out a seat position sensor, and the last thing I want is the airbag to explode. So basically, take a 10 millimeter. Just undo the negative terminal, put it away somewhere safe. And well, now we can get to the bolt on the car. So let's go grab a socket. So you don't want to do what I just did. I kind of moved the seat too much forward, and I took the negative terminal out. So it's going to be a little bit a pain to get the bolt on the bottom here, because I've put it so far forward. So you probably want to move it back. Obviously I can't do that because of the battery. But you do want to move it forward enough to get access to that guy, or else it'll be a pain moving that. So, but you know where the bolts are, those 4. You could probably get an extension and still use this. So I'm going to take the 4 bolts off, and then we'll continue from there. So I unbolted all 4, and as you can see, I used a massive extension. That kind of really helps with it because I pushed it too much far. So the quickest way that I found to do this is, after you unbolt all 4, you basically want to lift the seat and sandwich it on the steering wheel, just like that. You don't want to pull it too far because you've got electrical connections right here. You really don't want to damage those, so make sure you don't press it all the way back. And then now, if we go to the passenger side, that's the seat position sensor that we just talked about. And basically what you do is you just pull this clip, and there's the clip, and then there's a small nut right here, looks like an 8 millimeter. Take that, just unscrew that, and then we'll get to it from there. So you get an 8 millimeter, and you just put it on that. That should be enough. And there's your seat position sensor. Here's the part number, I guess, if you want that. Show you the part number. It's actually made by Ford, because these models are made by Ford. And then you basically, and then it's time to get the new one. So you get the new one. I like to put the bolt in between. And the only difficult part is, you see how there's kind of a triangle right there? That goes to the triangle that's in here, right there. So you kind of mesh this up with the triangle, and then you screw it in. Grab your impact or your ratchet or whatever you're using. And then you're basically going to screw it in. That's it. You don't want to screw it too tight because these things are made out of plastic. You don't want to ruin them. And you put your electrical connection back on until it snaps. There's no bolt for this one. I guess these sensors were used on a range of Fords as well, and they're kind of suited more for the Fords than the Mazdas. And then it's the reverse procedure. So after you're done, make sure you bolt this back together, put the seat back down and bolt all 4 bolts, put the plastic covers on top of them, and then we're going to put the negative terminal back on the battery and start it up and see if the airbag light comes on. Alright guys, so I got all 4 bolts. I got the cover back on, got the same thing in the back right there. Guys, you can tell the fact that the light's on means I put the battery back on. So here's the moment of truth. We're gonna start the car up and see if the airbag light went off. And no more airbag light. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you guys need any more help, you can browse my channel, see if there's other YouTube videos that can help you fix your car. If you have any suggestions on upcoming videos that I should make, please comment below. You can email me as well if you need any help. I always respond to everyone, at least I try to. I know there hasn't been a lot of videos recently, and that's because I've been really busy with school. A lot of tests, a lot of papers, a lot of work. But hopefully I'll be back. I got a lot of projects to do. Spring break is coming up. And I've got a lot of planned maintenance for this car that I'm probably going to do. So again, I hope you like this video. If you have any questions, please do comment them below, or you can email me if you don't want to comment below. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.